The new year is here, but the house still feels the same, no matter how much you've tried to clean. I've felt that way as well. Despite my efforts to clean up for 2026, the house still feels like a mess. And I don't even know where to start. It's exhausting, and I often blame myself for not seeing any real changes. But eventually, after some research and reflection, I realized I needed a system, an effective and quick way to organize, and I've successfully applied it. So today I'll share 6 simple home reset tips that will help you quickly create a clean and organized space for the new year. Let's get started right away. Let's start with something simple but grounding. Create one clean anchor point each day, not the whole house. Just one space you intentionally keep in order, a small point of calm that gives your day somewhere to land. An anchor doesn't need to be big or impressive. Its only job is to remind you that at least one part of your space is taken care of. When everything else feels scattered, that one place becomes proof that things aren't out of control. For me, that anchor often starts in the bedroom. In the morning, I make my bed. It's a quiet, almost automatic action. No planning, no decisions. But once the bed is done, the room immediately feels different, more settled, more intentional, even if the rest of the house hasn't caught up yet. It's not about perfection or aesthetics. It's about giving the day a clear, gentle starting line. For me, the second anchor lives in the kitchen. Before going to bed, I wash the dishes and leave the sink clean. Not the counters, not the whole kitchen, just the sink. Waking up to that one clean surface changes how the morning unfolds. The space feels more open, and whatever mess remains feels smaller and more manageable. And there's one more place people often forget. After a shower, I take a moment to quickly wipe the shower head or the faucet. It takes almost no effort, but it keeps the bathroom feeling fresh and prevents small buildup from quietly turning into another task waiting for someday. This works because you're no longer asking yourself to manage the entire house. You're only responsible for one thing you can always finish. And once that anchor is in place, other areas start to follow, not because you push yourself harder, but because order feels easier to continue than chaos. If you ever feel like skipping your anchor, think of it as a gift to the next version of you. One calm spot today makes tomorrow feel lighter. And for now, that's more than enough. By the way, in my next video, I'll be sharing the things I won't buy in 2026 to avoid unnecessary spending. Trust me, it's worth watching if you're trying to avoid wasteful purchases. Don't miss it. Next, let's move to a space that affects your mood more than you realize: your closet. Closets often hold more than we realize, not because there isn't enough space, but because too many items were never fully decided on. They're no longer worn regularly, yet they remain quietly filling the space and making each closet opening feel a little heavier. When you begin resetting your closet, there's no need for lists or perfect decisions. Not every item needs a reason to leave. What matters more is the feeling that shows up each time you see it. Some pieces aren't damaged or unattractive, but they no longer bring a sense of ease. That alone can be enough to make room for something new. You might recognize this moment opening your closet in the morning, your hand moving across familiar clothes, then pausing on one piece you once loved. You don't choose it, and you don't put it away right away either. It just hangs there, slowing you down for a few seconds before you reach for something else. These small pauses, repeated day after day, quietly turn the closet into a source of mental drain. Resetting your closet this way isn't about emptying it out. It's about letting your space reflect the rhythm of your life now. As items that no longer fit your present are removed, getting dressed becomes simpler, lighter, and mornings feel less tense. This doesn't have to happen all at once. Each time you open your closet and feel a little more at ease, progress is being made. Your closet doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to stop demanding energy the moment your day begins. Start with something very specific, a single shelf, a category of items, or just the few things you always hesitate over. Clear that space until it feels calmer, and notice how your thoughts begin to follow. Focus on small wins, because even just tidying one area can create a sense of order and give you the fresh start you need. That's enough for one reset. Here's another way to reset your space without needing to let things go. Every home contains items that don't belong to the present moment. Heavy winter coats hanging in warm weather, thick blankets folded at the end of the bed long after the cold has passed, extra pillows, guest towels, or special occasion items that are meaningful but rarely used. These things aren't clutter and they're not mistakes. They simply belong to a different season of your life or year. The problem is not that you own them, it's that they stay visible every day. When out-of-season items remain in your daily space, they quietly take up physical room and mental space. Closets feel tighter, shelves feel fuller. And even when everything is technically tidy, the room still feels heavy. Instead of pushing yourself to declutter more, try separating what belongs to now from what belongs later. One practical way to do this is by compressing and storing items that aren't part of your current routine. Vacuum storage bags work especially well for seasonal clothing, spare bedding, or rarely used textiles. Once compressed, these items take up a fraction of the space without being discarded or forgotten. Imagine opening your closet during a small reset at the start of the year. A thick coat hangs there untouched for weeks. It doesn't annoy you, but it doesn't help you either. Each time you open the door, it quietly reminds you of something unfinished. Folding it into a labeled vacuum bag, winter, and placing it out of sight immediately changes the feeling of the space. The closet breathes. The remaining clothes feel easier to access. Nothing important was lost, it was simply relocated. This kind of reset isn't about minimalism or forcing decisions before you're ready. It's about giving every item a clear role and time frame. When something isn't needed now, it doesn't have to compete for space with what you use every day. A home feels lighter, not because it has fewer things, but because everything inside it belongs where and when it is. Creating space is sometimes less about letting go and more about letting things rest until their season returns. After you've created a few clear, orderly points in your home, it helps to shift your attention to the smaller areas that quietly shape your daily routine. These are the places you touch without thinking, drawers you open several times a day, cabinets you reach into while half focused on something else. At first glance, they may not look messy, yet each interaction carries a small amount of friction. A drawer that catches a cabinet that feels slightly overfilled. A moment of hesitation before finding what you need. Fatigue doesn't always come from having too much to do. Often it builds from tiny interruptions repeated over and over. A drawer that refuses to glide smoothly. A pause in the middle of cooking while you move things aside to reach a familiar tool. Each moment is minor on its own, but together they create a background feeling of resistance, a sense that daily life requires just a bit more effort than it should. Resetting these areas doesn't require a full reorganization or new storage systems. It begins with one simple principle. Items used most often should be the easiest to reach. Items used less often can step out of the way. This isn't about creating visual perfection. It's about observing how you actually move through your day and letting your space support that rhythm instead of working against it. In the kitchen, this might mean allowing everyday plates, bowls, and utensils to live at arm's reach, while tools used only occasionally move further back or higher up. In a drawer, it could be as simple as removing the objects that block the ones you touch daily. Nothing dramatic changes, yet the experience of using the space does. What makes this approach different is its immediate impact on everyday life. When a drawer opens without resistance, When cooking no longer involves searching or rearranging something subtle shifts. You don't consciously think, this is better, but your body notices. Movements become smoother, small pauses disappear. The house may look almost the same as before, but the quiet sources of irritation are gone. And sometimes, removing those unnoticed obstacles is enough to make the entire day feel lighter. Not because you did more, but because you no longer have to push against your space just to live in it. Maintaining a sense of order doesn't come from long, exhausting cleaning sessions. It comes from small actions repeated gently and consistently. Once your space begins to feel lighter, the real work isn't doing more, it's protecting that feeling without slipping back into the familiar cycle of overwhelm and avoidance. Some days that looks like washing one load of laundry. Other days it's vacuuming just one area of the room. That's enough. You don't need to finish everything, and you don't need to wait until you have free time, perfect focus, or a sudden burst of energy. Small tasks work because they keep you in relationship with your space without demanding more than you can give. They lower the entry point, making care feel possible even on tired days. Resetting your home isn't a destination you arrive at and stay forever. It's a rhythm you return to. When you move in small, steady steps, the pressure eases almost on its own. You stop carrying the constant background thought of, I have to clean everything this weekend. Instead, the question becomes quieter and more realistic. What's one light thing I can do today to make my space feel a little easier to live in? On a long, draining evening, you might notice dust on the floor. The old pattern would be to either ignore it completely or feel guilty for not having the energy to clean the whole room. This time you choose differently. You vacuum only the path you walk through, most from the door to the bed or from the kitchen to the couch. It takes just a few minutes. The next morning, that small decision changes how the space feels. Not because everything is spotless, but because the room no longer resists you. The emotional anchor for this approach is simple. If today feels even a little lighter than yesterday, that's enough. What makes this rhythm different is that it breaks the belief that caring for your home requires free time or high motivation. In reality, it's these small, manageable actions, done within your current capacity, that quietly maintain a calm space. Over time, they shape a gentler way of living where order isn't forced and care doesn't feel like a burden, but a natural part of the day. Finally, take a look at your shared spaces, especially the living room. This is where the energy of the entire home gathers, where you pass through many times a day, and where your mood is most easily affected. This space doesn't need a lot of things to feel beautiful. It needs room to breathe. Everyday items like books you're currently reading, magazines, remote controls, or small miscellaneous objects tend to spread out and quietly create a feeling of not quite done. You don't need to get rid of them. Simply gathering them into a basket or a small box is enough. When these items are no longer scattered across tables or the sofa, the room immediately feels calmer, even though nothing was actually removed. With decorative objects, try stepping back and observing. Sometimes removing just one piece allows natural light to come through more clearly. Plants become more noticeable. Your eyes have somewhere to rest. Empty space isn't a lack, it's the part of the room that allows everything else to settle. There's a small moment when this difference becomes clear. In the evening, you sit down on the sofa after a long day. You don't feel the urge to tidy anything before resting. Light falls onto an open patch of floor, uninterrupted by clutter. You exhale more easily, not because the room is perfect, but because it isn't asking anything more from you. The breathing room allows you to stay in your home instead of constantly thinking about adjusting it. When the living room feels open, it becomes easier to sit down, easier to stay still, and easier to end the day. The closing message for this entire reset series is simple. A space feels open not because it has less, but because everything has its place. And when everything has its place, you no longer carry that quiet heaviness with you each time you walk into your home. After tidying up and creating those clean anchor points in my space, I feel a noticeable shift. The clutter is gradually disappearing, replaced by a sense of calm and lightness. The whole house feels like it's breathing, and I feel much more relaxed. If tackling the whole house seems overwhelming, start small by choosing one specific area you want to clear, maybe a corner of your bedroom, or simply your work desk. Focus on one small spot before expanding out, and you'll see how small changes can make a big difference. And if organizing and decluttering makes life feel lighter, don't miss my next video where I'll share the things I won't buy in 2026 to avoid unnecessary spending. A small action today, a tidier space can change your whole day. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on the next tips that will make your life simpler and more enjoyable.